Hello, Toonami. What a fantastic day it is to be talking about our beloved Newcastle United, the best team in the world. One of the biggest questions haunting St. James Park right now is, are we witnessing the dawn of a new golden era, or just another summer of broken promises? With the bombshell news about our bids for Joan Pedro and James Trafford, Brighton brutally rejected our $50 million offer, while Nick Pope accidentally leaked Trafford's arrival on Instagram. Lads, you won't believe what Pope did. He practically confirmed the transfer without meaning to, and it was absolutely hilarious. What do you think about Brighton's valuation of Joan Pedro at £60 million? And how do you feel about Nick Pope accidentally revealing that James Trafford might be joining us soon with that Instagram story slip-up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because there's nothing I love more than hearing from fellow Newcastle supporters about what's happening with our incredible club. Right then, let's dive straight into this transfer business that's got everyone talking around Tyneside. Our club has had a £50 million bid rejected for Joan Pedro, and honestly, it's got me thinking about how mental the transfer market has become these days. Brighton wants $60 million for the Brazilian forward, and you know what? Tony Bloom isn't budging 1 inch. Now I've got to admit, when I first heard about this rejection, part of me was frustrated. We offered $45 million plus $5 million in add-ons, which sounds like decent money for any player. But Brighton have looked at that bid and basically said, thanks, but no thanks. That's Tony Bloom for you though, isn't it? The man knows exactly what he wants, and he's not going to be negotiated down like some street vendor. The thing that really gets me thinking is how much the transfer market has changed over the years. Brighton originally signed Pedro from Watford for around $30 million just a couple of years ago, and now they're valuing him at double that amount. It's absolutely mental when you think about it, but that's the reality of modern football. Everything has gone up in price, from your weekly shopping to parking fees. And football transfers are no different. What's really wound me up is how clubs like Manchester United and Chelsea have completely ruined the market for everyone else. When you see United throwing $72 million at Rasmus Højlund, or Chelsea spending $80-90 million on players who turn out to be flops, it drives up everyone's expectations. Brighton can look at those deals and think, well, if they're paying that much for their players, our Pedro is easily worth $60 million. And you know what? Fair play to Brighton for sticking to their guns. They've got one of the best business models in the Premier League, haven't they? They buy players cheap and sell them for massive profits. Look at their recent sales. Moises Caicedo went for over $100 million. Alexis Mac Allister was picked up for about $5 million and sold for a fortune. They're not some desperate club that needs to sell players to balance the books. The frustrating thing for us Newcastle fans is that we're trying to build something special here, and we need quality players like Pedro to take that next step. He's a Brazil international with huge potential, and his numbers speak for themselves. 20 goals and assists the season before last. And even with his injury problems and that disciplinary issue with the defender last season, he still managed 16 combined goals and assists. I think Pedro would absolutely thrive in our system. Under Eddie Howe, the lad's only 23 years old. He's got pace, skill, and that Brazilian flair that gets fans off their seats. When I watch him play for Brighton, I can picture him in our black and white stripes, linking up with our attacking players, and giving us that cutting edge we sometimes lack in the final third. The problem is that Brighton know we want him badly. They know we tried to sign him a couple of years ago, and they can sense our desperation. That puts them in the driver's seat when it comes to negotiations. They can afford to sit back and wait for us to meet their valuation, because they're not under any pressure to sell. What's making this even more complicated is that Chelsea are apparently sniffing around as well. Of course they are. They seem to sign about 400 players every transfer window, while we're here scrapping for every decent signing. It's maddening how some clubs can just throw money around while we're trying to be sensible and work within our means. Sky Sports reckon this saga could drag on for weeks, and that's the last thing any of us want to hear. After the Mark Guehi situation last summer, we need to get our business done quickly and efficiently, so Eddie Howe can work with his new players during pre-season. Every day we delay is a day less for Pedro to integrate with the squad and understand our playing style. My honest opinion, I think 50 million is about right for Pedro. Maybe stretching to 55 million with add-ons. 60 million feels like too much. But if that's what it takes to get a player we really believe in, then maybe we need to adjust our thinking. The market has changed, and we need to change with it if we want to compete with the big boys. The reality is that PSR and FFP regulations haven't kept up with transfer fee inflation. Everything costs more now, but the financial rules were written when transfer fees were much lower. It's created this bizarre situation where clubs are expected to balance their books using old formulas while dealing with modern prices. What do you think we should do? Should we pay the 60 million and get our man? Or should we walk away and look for alternatives? It's a tough decision, but one that could define our transfer window and our season ahead. Right then, let's talk about what might be the funniest transfer hint we've seen in ages. Our very own Nick Pope has absolutely done himself proud with that Instagram story reply to James Trafford, hasn't he? The poor lad clearly thought he was sending a private direct message when he replied class to Trafford's story. But instead, everyone and their nan could see it pop up on their phones. You've got to love it when players accidentally give us these little glimpses behind the scenes. Pope's deleted it now, but not before half of Twitter and Instagram had screenshots of it. It's brilliant because it shows these lads are proper excited about new signings coming in, just like we are as fans. Pope wasn't trying to be clever or drop hints deliberately. He genuinely thought he was having a private chat with his mate. What makes this even better is the timing of it all. Reports have been flying around that Trafford has already agreed personal terms with us, and that both sides are confident of getting the deal done with Burnley. Romano and other reliable sources have been saying the players' wage demands have been met, and everything's sorted on that front. Then Pope goes and basically confirms it all with one accidental Instagram reply. You can tell Pope and Trafford have been having proper conversations about this move. They know each other well from the England setup, and obviously, Pope's got those Burnley connections from his time there. I bet he's been selling Newcastle to Trafford, telling him all about St. James's Park, the fans, the atmosphere, and what it's like playing for this incredible club. That class reply suggests Trafford's been sharing some good news about the transfer progressing. The fact that Pope said he'd see him soon is the real giveaway though, isn't it? The holidays are pretty much over now, and the lads are back for pre-season on July 7th. Pope's not going to be seeing Trafford on some random holiday. He's going to be seeing him at the training ground as his new teammate and competition for the number one spot. This whole goalkeeper situation fascinates me because it shows how seriously we're taking squad depth and competition for places. Trafford's a quality young keeper who's been impressive for Burnley and caught the eye of England selectors. At just 25 years old, he's got his best years ahead of him, and the competition between him and Pope could bring out the best in both of them. What I love about Eddie Howe's approach is that he wants proper competition in every position. Pope's been brilliant for us, absolutely brilliant, but having someone like Trafford breathing down his neck will keep him sharp and motivated. And if Pope picks up an injury or needs a rest, we've got a keeper who's Premier League proven and ready to step in. The reported fee of around 30 million plus add-ons seems about right for a keeper of Trafford's quality and potential. He's young, he's English, he's got Premier League experience, and he's clearly rated highly by people who know their football. In today's market, that's decent business for a position that's absolutely crucial to how we want to play. Speaking of goalkeepers, how mental is it that Freddie Woodman has ended up at Liverpool? Completely out of the blue, that one. He's going to be third choice there, picking up medals and trophies without playing a minute, just like Scott Carson has been doing. Fair play to the lad though. What a move for him career-wise. He'll be training with world-class players every day and learning from one of the best goalkeeping setups in world football. It's interesting that Woodman was linked with a return to Newcastle at one point, along with other keepers like Jordan Pickford and Fraser Forster. Shows how seriously we were looking at strengthening that position before settling on Trafford as our target. Now let's talk about something that'll have all our wallets trembling: the new third kit launch. They're releasing it on July 1st, and apparently there's going to be a proper promo video with Sam Fender and Tino Livramento involved. How class is that? Getting Sam Fender involved makes perfect sense. The lad's a proper Geordie and understands what this club means to the people of this region. What's doing my head in though is that we're releasing the third kit before the away kit again. They did this last year apparently due to stock issues, but now it's happening again. Maybe it's become their new strategy, because they know the third kit always generates more excitement than the away one. That green kit we've seen, leaked, looks decent, but everyone's going to be buzzing about the retro-style third kit first. The fact that they're bringing back more retro range items is brilliant news. Everyone was kicking off about stock levels last year because they couldn't get their hands on the hoodies and tracksuits. Adidas and the club clearly learned their lesson and realised there's serious money to be made from that nostalgic Newcastle gear that connects us to our history and identity. It's mad how kit releases have become such massive events now. Back in the day, you'd just rock up to the club shop and buy whatever was available. Now it's all about promo videos, social media campaigns, and building up hype for weeks before the actual release. But you know what? I love it because it shows how much the club values our support and wants to give us something special. The timing with pre-season, starting on July 7th, is perfect too. The lads will be back in training. We'll hopefully have some new signings to get excited about, and we'll have fresh kit to show our support. It's that time of year when optimism is at its highest, and everything feels possible for the season ahead. What really gets me buzzing is thinking about seeing Pedro and Trafford in our colours for the first time, assuming we get both deals done. Imagine Pedro scoring his first goal at St. James's Park in that new third kit, or Trafford making a crucial save to keep us in a big match. These are the moments that make supporting Newcastle United so special. The transfer window is heating up, the new season's approaching, and despite some frustrations with negotiations, I genuinely believe we're building something incredible here. Eddie Howe knows what he's doing, the ownership is backing him, and we've got the best fans in the world supporting every step of the way. Well, that's all from St. James's Park for today. Lads and lasses, keep supporting the best team in the world, and I'll be back with more updates soon. Make sure you drop your thoughts in the comments about Pedro's valuation, Pope's Instagram slip-up, and anything else Newcastle related. Keep the faith, keep the passion burning, and remember, we're Newcastle United, and there's nowhere else we'd rather be. Away the lads!